What does one need to know about Hebrew vowels? Well, it's important to know the name of each vowel, to know the sound of each vowel, to know whether the vowel is long or short. And when we refer to long or short, that does not refer to the sound that it makes, but how long that sound endures. So the durative nature of the sound, whether it's long or short. And finally, student needs to know how to write each one of the vowels. First, we'll go over the short vowels. First is patak. Patak has the sound of ah, as in father. Next is sagol. Sagol has as the sound, as in send. Hirik has an e sound, as in see. The next one is tricky because there's two vowels with the same symbol, but we're going to go over the short one now, which is kametz katan, or the kametz hatuf. The kametz katan is a short sound and it has an o sound, as in oval. Then finally, there's the kibbutz. The kibbutz has an u sound, as in flute. Next, we'll go over the long vowels. First is the kametz, which has an ah sound, as in father. Next is tsere, which has an a sound, as in hate. Then holom. Holom has an o sound, as in show. Now we want to go over long plene vowels. By long plene vowels, that means that the vowels have a consonant that works in conjunction with it, either as a diphthong or to mark the vowel itself. I'll distinguish these momentarily. First is kametz yod. This is a diphthong, so that the vowel and the consonant together make a combined sound, ai. Next is sagol yod, which just has a long e sound, as in bet. Now you'll notice that the sagol itself, when it's not marked with a yod, functions as a short vowel sound, whereas the sagol yod, that functions as a long vowel sound, Same sound, it's just the duration, short versus long. Next is Cereod. Cereod has an a sound, as in they. Next is Hirik yod, which has an e sound, as in see. Next is Holom vav, which has an o sound, as in slow. Next is a shurik, which is looks like this, and it has an u sound, as in flute. Now in some of these cases, like the Hirik yod, like the Holom vav, like the shurik, and like the Cereod, the consonants actually are used to mark the vowels, and then later the Masoretes inserted the vowel markings themselves. Next, we need to talk about half vowels. And these are very short vowels. Also, these are all Schwa vowels. Now, the Schwa itself is just these two dots directly underneath of a vowel. And there's two kinds of Schwas. There's the silent Schwa, and there's the vocal Schwa. The silent Schwa, as you can guess, makes no sound at all. The vocal Schwa makes an sound, very short, just like as in edible. Very short sound. Now we'll have to worry about what distinguishes the silent and vocal Schwa later. Right now we're just going over the sounds. Next, there's the Schwa combined with a patak, which is a hatuf patak, and that's a short ah sound, as in father, just a shorter sound. Next is the hatuf sagol, which is the short e sound, as in enter. Next is the hatuf kametz sound, which is a short o sound, o, as in old. Now when you read out loud, you don't have to worry about getting the half vowel versus the short vowel versus the long vowel. That just refers to their duration. What you need to concentrate on is just making the correct sound. So in this case, a, o. In English, we think in terms of 5 vowels: a, e, I, o, and u. Now that's not a useful distinction in Hebrew. In Hebrew, the distinctions that are useful are the A class, the I class, and the U class vowels. At this point, you don't need to remember it, just remember that there is such a thing, because during different morphological changes, from suffixes, prefixes, and other sorts of changes when words get in context, there can be a transition of a vowel, but the vowels will stay in the vowel class. So there might be a switch between different kinds of U-class vowels, but it'll stay within that class. Same thing with I-class vowels and A-class vowels, respectively. For now, just recognize that there's 3 classes of vowels, and we'll have to worry about this a little bit later. Another thing to take note of is that there's changeable long vowels and unchangeably long. When the vowels are marked with a consonant, whether it's the vav for shurik or holam vav, or the yod for hirik yod or cereod, these vowels won't change even when there's changes in words. However, a word marked with holam or tsere or hirik could change if there's a suffix or a prefix or the like put onto a word under certain circumstances, which we'll have to worry about later. And one more point of review. The hirik is short and has an E sound. Hirik yod is long, but also has an E sound. So there's no change in the sound, there's just a difference in the duration. And what's important for us to know is just we'll have to memorize which ones are long and which ones are short so that we can do what we need to do in terms of grammar and parsing. Again, the ptak has an ah sound, whereas a kametz also has an ah sound as in father, but one is long, one is short. And the kibbutz is short u, where the shurik is long, also u. Same sound, one is short, one is long. That means longer in duration. We need to know that, though, in terms of some of the grammatical and parsing issues which we'll come up to. And one final point for the moment. Very tricky is the difference between the kametz and the kametz katon. Identical in the way that they look, one has the ah sound, one has the o sound. I can just mention to you that we'll have to worry about a little bit later how we can tell them apart, but 8 times out of 10 it's going to be the kametz, the ah sound. Just occasionally, 1 or 2 times out of 10, will it be a kametz katon, and we'll go over what makes it a kametz katon at a later point.